Hutia te rito o te harakeke, kei hia te kō mā kō e kō. Ki mai ki a hau, iaha te me nui o tēnei ao, a he tangata, he whenua, he kau. So, if you were to ask me what is the most important thing in this world, I would say it is the people, it is the land, and it is my cows. Ko wai au, ko tainu i tōku iwi, ko Ngāti Amaru tōku hapu, ko Waikato te awa, no Pukekohe a hau, ko Ben Purua tōku ingoa. Kia ora, my name is Ben Purua. Reflecting on my life is like watching an intense documentary series. Each chapter has been packed with its own challenges and thrilling successes. From navigating a rough childhood filled with addiction and crime to finding redemption and love. If my life was a Netflix series, it would be called Redemption, the Ben Purua story. It is a story of transformation, resilience, and hope, even through the darkest of times. I was born and raised in Pukekohe. I was born into a life of crime, gangs, drugs, and violence. As a child, I endured beatings, fear, hunger, and abuse. I'm the third eldest among 9 siblings. I was raised without knowing my father until 3 years ago, when we briefly met before his passing. I had my nan in my life. She was a tough lady. My mother, despite her efforts, faced her own challenges. Almost all my whānau members are deeply involved in gangs, both the Mongol mob and Black Power. This makes for interesting whānau gatherings. Growing up, I looked up to my whānau members, especially my uncles, as my role models. I wanted to be just like them. By the age of 7, I was drinking alcohol and smoking drugs. I was expelled from school for fighting, and it wasn't until recently that I found out I was dyslexic, explaining why school was so difficult for me. By the age of 10, I was robbing houses to feed my siblings. We had nothing and we lived in poverty. By 11, I was stealing cars. By 12, I was committing aggravated robberies and joined a gang in Hamilton. At 15, I find myself in a horrific situation where a man lost his life. Although I wasn't directly responsible for his death, I was there and I did nothing to stop it. I fully accept the responsibility for my part in that tragic event. Along with 2 other youth, I was initially charged with murder, facing a life sentence in prison. At that time, I was one of the youngest individuals in New Zealand to be charged with murder. I felt like my life was over, filled with hatred for the world and for myself. My charge was eventually reduced to manslaughter, and I received a 5.5-year sentence. At a young age, I was placed into Waikeria Prison, a men's facility, which was completely different to the youth prisons I had previously been in. Going to prison at 15 came with its own set of challenges. I started in the youth wing at Waikeria Prison, but for my 18th birthday, I graduated to mainstream. Definitely not the kind of birthday present any 18-year-old would want. Prison isn't anything like Wentworth or Prison Break. While I was inside, I perfected my skill in illegal activity. picking up some new, interesting habits. In prison, there's no fight or flight. It's always fight. This mentality stuck with me even after my release. I wanted to fight everyone. The thought that somebody comes out of prison rehabilitated seemed so crazy to me. Most people emerge from incarceration as experts in being criminals. Another myth I'd like to debunk is the idea that enduring a terrible childhood automatically leads to growth and learning. At that stage of my life, I hadn't even realised my childhood was so awful. I assumed everyone had similar experiences. I believed my life was normal and that those who didn't share my experiences were the exceptions. Most of my cousins and uncles were in and out of prison, so for me, it felt like the path was normal. Behaviour is learned through experience and observation and education. My life experiences and observations were filled with violence, drugs, alcohol, gangs, and poverty. At 15, I was being educated by the prison community. How was I supposed to know there were other options? While I was in prison, I found myself thinking about a person I had met before I went inside. Her name was Nikki. I couldn't stop thinking about her, so I wrote to her a few times. It took over a year, but she eventually replied. And we started writing back and forth. In prison, there are programs you can do. And I'll be honest, you don't do them to become a better person. You do them to tick a box and get out. However, one privilege I earned for good behaviour was the chance to work on the prison farm. Initially, I jumped at the opportunity just to escape the confines of my unit. Any bit of freedom after being locked up for so many hours feels incredible. I quickly discovered I loved farming. I loved being out on the whenua and working with animals. In 2014, I was released on parole and I went back to my mum's home, pretty much straight back into pre-prison life. I finally got to meet Nikki's twin daughters, my stepdaughters. I applied for jobs and landed one on a dry stock farm. I wish I could say that was the end of my troubles and I immediately turned my life around, but it's not true. I got back into drugs, alcohol, and I ended up back in prison a couple more times. In 2016, my family and I were in bad shape. I had put Nikki and the girls through hell. We had nothing. We were homeless, living in our car, jobless and broke. I got sent to prison for another 2-month stint. Then Nikki told me she was leaving me and taking the kids to Australia, and I broke. I finally realised I needed to change. I stopped the drugs, stopped the alcohol, I stopped the violence, and I had left the gangs. I told Nikki I wanted to marry her. So, the day I got out of prison, we got married. I decided to pursue my passion for farming. It's tough to get a job with a criminal record, and if you Google my name, you'll find many articles about the old me. Rarely did I get an interview, and when I did, one of the first questions was, do you have a criminal conviction? I would say yes. For some, that was it. Some people were more generous. They would ask, oh, is it just stealing or something? When I mumbled, no, it's manslaughter, that was usually when the interview ended. I had to take any job I could get. I started at the bottom as a farm assistant, but I kept going, knowing I had to work harder than anyone else on the farm. I did everything I could to learn and gain knowledge. I enrolled in courses and completed my level 3 and level 4 in dairy farm courses, as well as my apprenticeship in agriculture. Reading and writing are challenging for me because I have dyslexia. So I had to put in the extra efforts to pass. I don't believe in making excuses. I believe in the power of determination. At the same time, I'm no Superman. If I didn't have the people supporting me and believing in me, I never would have even tried to do the things differently. Nikki and I have now been married for 8 years and been together for 11. She stuck by me through some extreme highs and lows. She's my rock and always pushes me to be the best version of myself. I also have my twin daughters, Maya and Tara, whom I've raised since they were 8 years old. They're now nearly 20. Both attend Auckland University, and additionally, we've been blessed with our beautiful 2-year-old daughter, Sam Henemaudi, born through IVF with the help of an amazing surrogate. I've been fortunate to have the support of 2 exceptional farmers over the years, Shane Robinson and Graham Lucas. They believed in me, encouraged me, supported me through my lows. They even attended my parole hearings to support me and ensured that Nikki and the kids were okay, keeping my job open when I was going in and out of prison. I also met a wonderful family, the Morgan Norris whānau, who stood by me through many ups and downs. They were there for me when I couldn't express my thoughts or feelings, offering support and teaching me life skills. One whānau that has been significant in my life is the family of the man who lost his life. I had the privilege of meeting them in 2020, and they said to me, "We forgive you." Those 3 words were so powerful. They are the most incredible family, and I am so thankful I've had the opportunity to meet them. We've kept in touch, and that's us hugging in the photo there. I also want to mihi to my nan, the only one to make me feel safe when I was a kid. And she passed away 6 months ago. She was everything to me, and I miss her a lot. My family and I are always sitting down, setting goals. I've been a farm manager on a System 5 dairy farm in South Waikato for the last 3 years. Our farm is equipped with advanced technology like all flex collars, ProTrack and Delpro. I consult with a cow nutritionist monthly, and our cows have a unique diet that includes fruit and vegetables, bread, biscuit, chocolates, soy meal, and various high protein products. In 2020, my wife and I reached a major milestone. We bought our first home. This was huge. This was a huge achievement, especially considering our past struggles. Recently, I launched my clothing label, Kāmu tō Pāmu, which means calm your farm. And I'm excited to see it grow. We've done everything on our own so far, so if anyone wants to help with marketing, please let me know. I'm also involved in an agriculture podcast that's currently in development. I'm also a part of He Tātai Rangahua, the Food and Fibre Youth Network, where I've learned quickly that at a governance level you can really influence change. I'm eager to gain more knowledge and experience in governance. I also go back to the Waikeria Prison and speak to the men there that are working on the farm. My ultimate dream is to create a farm that serves as a supportive learning environment for individuals reintegrating into society from prison. I want to create a place where they can safely make mistakes and learn new skills and a new way of life. My aim is to empower them to reach their full potential and excel as skilled farmers, and then transition them onto full-time farm employment. This year, I was privileged and honoured to be named the 2024 Central Plateau Dairy Manager of the Year. Honestly, I still can't believe it. I then went on to compete in the Nationals in Queenstown, where I won the National Manager of the Year People and Leadership Award. Last month, I was also named the 2024 Ahuwhenua Young Māori Farmer of the Year. If you've seen my acceptance speech, you'll know I was in complete shock and disbelief. It's available on my socials at FarmUpNZ or on YouTube if you want to check that out. So, as you can see, my journey has been one of incredible highs and devastating lows. It is a story of transformation, resilience, and hope. I've learned that change is definitely possible, no matter how dark your past may be. With determination, support, and a shift in mindset, you can turn your life around. I'm living proof of that. I truly hope a young person out there watching this is inspired to change, and I hope they come and join the food and fibre sector because it is the best. E ki ana te kōrero, whatu ngarongaro te tangata, toi tū te whenua. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.